We have head coach Kellie Harper, who is taking her fourth team to the NCAA tournament, only the second women's coach to do so, and Tennessee making its 39th consecutive appearance in the Big Dance. With that, we'll turn it over to Coach Harper for an opening statement.
We are excited to have a bracket. We are excited to have an opponent on our schedule now. We've had a week where we've been able to practice. We've been able to get some time off, focus a little bit on some academics. And, you know, I think there's a lot of festivities around the selection show and the bracket reveal. We enjoyed our time tonight getting to watch that on television, and just looking forward to the opportunity that we have to go down and keep playing some basketball in the NCAA tournament.
All right, we'll go ahead and take questions, and we'll start with Maria.
Coach, the bracket's always interesting to see who gets matched up with who. And as soon as Middle Tennessee popped into Tennessee, I'm like, that had to be something the NCAA wanted to set up, particularly being an in-state school. Just what do you know about Middle Tennessee State so far, beyond Anastasia Hayes, a former Lady Vol, being their leading scorer?
Yeah, well, honestly, this is probably the first year in a long time I haven't been able to catch many of their games. I've seen them play quite a bit historically. I have a lot of respect for Coach Insel. Actually, I've played for him and during the summer many years ago. They're well coached. They always have terrific game plans. You know, especially given this much time to prepare, they'll really have a game plan that their players will really buy into. They're usually really good at what they do. You know, they don't overcomplicate things. They make the game very simple, and they execute very well, whether that's on the offensive end or the defensive end. Now that's what I know of his program and how he coaches. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for them.
Howard.
Thanks, Coach, and congratulations. When the teams just kept kind of rolling out in your region, and you see, you know, you've got Paige Beckers there, you've got Caitlin Clark, Ryan Howard. There seems to be a lot of star power in this particular region. I wonder how that works as a coach. Obviously, the downside is you have to game plan for them, but the upside is these are players I'm sure you're very familiar with.
Yeah, you know, I think I'll be honest with you, I haven't been able to really look at the bracket yet. We just came over, haven't printed one off yet. And as you're going, you're really trying to, you know, trying to memorize all the teams that have been and trying to figure out, who it might be, who you could be in there with. I do know there are so many talented players out there. And I know obviously a lot of talent in this particular region. But I think this year you can just go down the line and see how many superstar players, how many big performances that there have been. And I think it stands out. I think it's been obviously an unusual year, but a fun year to watch some of the individual performers that women's basketball's had nationwide.
Thanks, Coach.
Ben.
Kelly, I'm curious as to what preparation has looked like since the SEC tournament and what it will look like this week. A big 2-week gap in between games. Is there anything special that you try to add to make sure that there's no rust in the next game?
Well, we've tried to have a combination of practice to stay sharp, to get better at some things, review some things, you know, add a few wrinkles here and there. We've balanced that with rest time because getting our bodies well, we were pretty beat up coming out of the SEC tournament. So this has been good time for us to, you know, try to get healthy. We've tried to enjoy each other. We went, had a practice on an outdoor court, which was fun. We use that as actually a really light day. We will travel on Wednesday. And I know things are going to look different for us when we get down to San Antonio. So we want to get a lot of heavy stuff done before we leave on Wednesday in terms of our practices, but even when you get down there, I think we play on Sunday. I believe that's right. And we'll need a really good practice on Friday for sure, or Thursday if we're able to get in the gym.
Jordan.
Hey, Kellie, congratulations first off just on making the tournament. You said that you played under Coach Inso one summer. I was wondering what league that was in, if you could kind of remember that. And then also, have you ever coached against a coach that you played under? And do you have any anecdotes from that summer?
Yeah, so actually it was more than one summer. I played for him a few years, and it was AAU. And he was the high school coach at Shelbyville, and I played at White County, so I also played against him growing up. And then honestly, as a head coach, when I was at Western Carolina and at Missouri State, we played middle. So like I said earlier, been very familiar with them throughout the years and what their program does. And then talking about playing against a coach that I played for, I did have the opportunity to play against Pat Summitt a couple of times. So those moments are neat when you have a relationship across the floor, you know them so well. And again, there's just so much respect there.
Chloe.
Coach, going into this tournament, do you guys just have any specific or just general goals in mind?
Well, our team wants to keep playing basketball. I don't know that we've sat down and just written it out, but, we have a goal to stay down there in San Antonio for a bit. I do know that. I do realize it's cliche to say you have to take it one game at a time, but that cliche sticks around because it works and it's accurate. And, for us, when you step out, when we get down to Texas, we have to be 100% concentrated on Middle Tennessee. And if you're fortunate enough to advance, you concentrate on your next game. So you can't look ahead. You have to be locked in with what you're doing. And hopefully our team will be able to do that.
Nicholas.
Kellie, when you look at this bracket, you got teams like Connecticut, Baylor, potentially Michigan in the second round. I know you don't want to look past the first game in MTSU. What do you make of the potential road that your team has here in this region in the NCAA tournament?
Well, you could pick it apart. I think matchups are. I've always felt like you get to the tournament and you're excited about whatever seed you are and whatever seed you've earned. But the games are more about matchups, and the numbers at this point now, they don't matter. It is about how you match up with the particular team that you're going to be playing. And, I'm sure that there are teams from our region that we match up well with, and I'm sure that there are teams that we don't match up well with. They didn't get my opinion when they started putting those together, so I didn't get to say who we would want to play. But there are so many good teams, and at this point, you have to be your best regardless of who you're playing.
Lewis.
Kellie, how do you personally feel to be able to say you are the head coach of the Lady Vols in the NCAA tournament? I'm sure you have a lot of moments where it must be weird to think about since it's only year two, but how does it feel to know that is a truth? That is a true statement.
Honestly, until you just said that, I hadn't thought about it. But when you put it like that, Lewis, that's a big deal. It's pretty cool. Because that's what we're a tournament sport. This is, you work all season to have a great season, and the journey is such a big part of what we do. But it brings you here. It brings you to the NCAA tournament. And that's what, this program has built its legacy on, winning. So to be able to lead this program into the NCAA tournament, it's exciting times.
Teresa.
Kellie, with that said, had a couple pauses this year, and to get to this point, to be able to know you're going to the NCAA tournament later this week, with all the unknowns that has come with the season, does it feel a little bit like a win in and of itself already?
Well, listen, I still am nervous every morning when I wake up. I'm waiting on the call, the all clear call that we are good to go for the day. And so until we get all the way to game day, I'll be nervous every day. But that's how this season has felt. You know, you're just holding your breath day to day, week to week, so that you can get these games in. And I get it under, you know, big picture. I understand that there's a lot more going on than us playing basketball, but you know, that brings us joy, you know, and it's been something that I think has been desperately needed for so many athletes to be able to get out and play. So we are grateful and we are thankful that we have had this opportunity. It's been hard to get to this point, you know, with so many protocols and so many things that you have to give up, and you know, you have to navigate through and manage for not just us, but so many athletes. So I'm proud we're here. And like I said, holding my breath every day until we get to game day, but looking forward to it.
Jimmy?
Kellie, you talked about the 2-week break helping you physically. Do you think it also is beneficial mentally?
Oh, I think the break is the mental break is as much needed as the physical break. I think sometimes, you know, they need a refresher. Now, obviously, you don't want to be rusty when game time comes. So hopefully we can ramp it back up before we hit the court on Sunday. But that there is a mental fatigue that I think players go through. You know, our league was unbelievably tough and competitive all season long, and through the tournament. So I think just getting a chance to breathe a little bit, getting a chance even to focus on something else for a bit, with that, you know, being some academics, I think has been good for our team.
And also, they said on ESPN you're one of only 2 coaches that have taken 4 different teams to the NCAA tournament. What does that mean to you?
Well, it means I've had really good players wherever I've been. And, you know, we've been able to enjoy the selection show multiple times. I tell you what, there are a lot of talented players out there that never have a chance to play in the NCAA tournament. So I never take that for granted. And, you know, it's just, I'm just really grateful that I've been in really good positions to be able to coach teams that could compete at that level.
Will?
I know you said you haven't been able to see a lot of MTSU this season, but obviously one of their big players is Anastasia Hayes, someone who has history with Tennessee. I guess, what do you know about her, and what do you know about her game that you guys are going to have to plan around?
Well, no, she's aggressive. I know their system can really take advantage of superstar players. It's easy to see. You pick up a stat sheet, she gets the free throw line, so you know she's putting the ball on the floor. She's going to be fired up. There's no doubt about it, and as their whole team will be. There's 100% chance they're super excited right now, and you know, they're going to look forward to this NCAA tournament and the opportunity that they have, not just to play, but obviously to play an in-state team. So I think, you know, just knowing how dynamic she is, that's going to be a challenge for us to guard.
Jordan?
Kellie, when we talked with Rick Barnes yesterday, he talked about, you know, it's exciting and it feels a little bit normal with Selection Sunday, but just going into March Madness, there's so many unknowns. I know yesterday he didn't know where they were going to practice, what that was going to look like. Is that just something that's just so different? And what is that like for you kind of now? You know, you're in, you know who you're playing, but just navigating more unknowns, which is, I guess, the norm of the season.
Yeah, so I've already had more meetings about this NCAA tournament than probably any other tournament combined. So, you know, it just looks different. And a lot of things weren't going to be established until we were able to see the bracket tonight. We won't have travel plans until tomorrow. We do know we're leaving on Wednesday. So there are a few things that we know, but there's still, like he said, there are so many unknowns. I think obviously we're excited to be playing. I would have loved to have been hosting. That's one thing that I hate, that our fans weren't able to enjoy, us hosting the NCAA tournament here, but we're still excited to be playing some basketball. So we'll see. I don't even think we know where we're playing yet. I don't think we know what site we're going to be at. I'm not sure when we're told that. So we've got a few other things we'll find out. I'm sure we could just always throw back to the Hoosiers. We walk in, measure the court, measure the goal, and it's all the same. So we'll figure it out when we get there.
We'll take two more questions, starting with Ben.
Kellie, speaking of Rick, if the men's team handles business on Friday, it'll be kind of a Tennessee basketball doubleheader in the NCAA tournament on Sunday. What do you think that kind of says about the current state of Tennessee basketball and what can be done here?
I've always thought that in an athletic department, success breeds success. I think and especially when you have teams of like sports, so your basketballs, when they're succeeding together, I think it gets everybody excited about the sport and about our university and our athletic department. So, hopefully they'll come ready and they'll be tough to and compete. And we're excited about them, watching them and supporting them. And hopefully we can follow suit on Sunday. I think when you pull for each other and you build on each other's success, it's a snowball effect. I think you just ride that. And I hope our fans are excited.
Ben. Excuse me, Jimmy Himes.
Kellie, it was Gino Auriemma has tested positive, and I'm sure he's got to be quarantined for a while. There were 3 big-name NCAA men's basketball teams that had to withdraw from their tournament. And I just wonder, how cautious do you feel like you had to be these last 2 weeks to make sure that you didn't have any issues with COVID?
Well, I mean, I'm like I said earlier, I'm constantly worried about it. I think you can be careful and you can do all the right things, and you can't control, you don't have 100% control over this. And, I can't, I know how tough it would be right now for teams and for coaches or individual players to miss this opportunity. So, we'll just keep doing what we're doing and, try to do the best we can and be mindful of, mask wearing and social distancing and, get down there. Hopefully we get to the bubble safe, stay in the bubble and stay in the bubble.
This will conclude Coach Harper's portion. We'll have 2 players coming up next. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.